Hi, my name is Loo Kit, and today I'm here to share with you some things about the trumpet. Now, firstly, thank you Kenny for letting me record this because this allows me to share my pride and joy in what I do with all you guys. Now, for today's topic, we would like to talk about lip flexibility. Now, lip flexibility is an obstacle to me. When I was growing up, I had a lot of issues with lip flexibility, but I was a lazy guy, so I never really tried my best to figure things out the hard way. By the hard way, I mean sitting down and putting in a few thousand hours of work in playing so do so mi do so mi do so do. Yeah, I did some of it, and I didn't do a lot of it. So this is one of my weak points. Now, however, along the way, because it's my weak point, I discovered that there are many approaches that we can use to help us get rid of this obstacle. Okay, so first thing we need to know about lip flexibility is that if we have the embouchure that can play the same way from the low notes all the way to the high notes, then our lip flexibility will be simple, right? If you play low notes and your lips go and when you play high notes the lips go then it's very hard to do lip flexibilities. So you need to put in the hard work of finding all the feels for the high note and the low note and changing quickly so that you get to the point. So when I discovered this book by Maggio, Maggio, a lot of the concepts that he wrote in the book resonated with me because my teacher, Mr. Juni Kebe, also did many of the same things. Now, for starters, when we talk about lip flexibility, we talk about the embouchure because we cannot avoid that. So this is how, at this point in time, I conceive the embouchure to be, which is to put it under the nose and flat, then you bring it down to your playing position, flat, bring it down to the playing position, and you play, right? However, the lips are 2/3 and 1/3, or rather more and less. Arm, and you just blow air and play. So I will demonstrate now, not my regular embouchure, just saying and play. Okay, yeah, so you see, with this basic setup, this basic procedure, we can play the trumpet. So now we go with what we have been doing. Maybe I do arm for a long time. So arm, then I bring it down. So first things first, yes, you can play the whole range with one embouchure. Why? Because as long as your lips are together, your lips will vibrate. If your lips can vibrate, there will be sound. So number one rule is the lips must be together. No matter what kind of exercises we do. Now we can talk about lip flexibility. So lip flexibility is basically the art of connecting all the notes from the lowest note to the highest note. If you look at the olden Baroque trumpet, the natural trumpet, they don't have valves. So they really have to work on lip flexibility. So if you have a chance to try a natural trumpet, by all means, try to play a piece of music with it. Now, on our trumpet, we have an easier task now because we have valves. So things like is easy. Now, not so easy, but is easy, right? So one way to practice lip flexibility is to practice with alternate fingerings. Get used to the feeling of playing the higher notes without changing too much. Instead of we play. There's not much change. So now we translate that to the original fingering. And then now, there we have it. We connected from the low note to the top note. Right? Now, top note to the low note, same. Right? A little bit harder because a lot of times in our practice, we have always been trying to practice playing high, playing high, playing high. So by the time we try to do something like this, our habit is to immediately open. And then no matter whether we press fingerings or not, we still open too much. So in this case, we play half steps. And we keep this as unchanging as we can. Now the low note, the color of the low note is very different from if you open your mouth. Right? I hope you can hear it. I'm not sure how it translates in the video. But if you do by half steps and you try not to let your lips open, the color, the sound of the low note and the high note will be very different from what you are used to. So there we have it. There's lip flexibility, connecting the lows to the highs and connecting from the highs to the lows. Just kidding. So now we have to practice. Now how can we practice? So example, the most famous exercise. Right? Alright. Hard. If high G is not in your easy range, very hard to do. If high E is not in your easy range, hard to do. So what can we do? We press all three keys. 1, 2, 3. Pull out sound. Okay? Okay? Easy? Yes. Unfortunately, I'm missing one step here, which is to use the metronome. Okay? So when we are able to use the metronome, we are able to make sure that we change in tempo, we change in time. Okay? In this case, I'll set my metronome to 80. Okay, once we start to get used to it, now we do duple and then triple. So duple. Any extension you can do. So next we add 1, 3. Okay? Now, to me, that is hard work because when I have to sit down and do this from a slow tempo to the quick tempo, it makes my life so tough. So usually what I do is I incorporate it into my warm-up. So my warm-up is actually based on Chikovitz's flow studies. Now, if we have the flow studies, it should sound something like this. Yeah? Good. If you have it, good. If you don't have it, I have a PDF that I wrote out. Ask Kenny for it. It goes on, my version, adapted from Mr. Ikebe, goes on like this. once we reach this point, we have already effectively played on the trumpet the low F sharp to the high A, okay? I mean middle A. Then we continue. Playing it in super fast speed. You can play a little slower. Make sure that each note connects to each note. Okay. Now this sounds really easy. We are using the valves to let us get the flow from the G all the way to the high C to the low C. Now once we can get the flow, if we remove all the middle fingerings, it should feel the same. Unfortunately, it is not so easy to do. So continue the Tchaikovsky studies. But at this point, we start to add a twist at the end. Okay, no matter what kind of result you get, if you get something like this, that's fine for now. Continue. So the next set will be okay. Now, at this point, if you have been doing it, you might find that the high note is hard. But then what happens is you get something like this. If you were facing issues with the previous exercise where you hit the G instead of the C immediately, now you hit the C immediately, right? Which means to say, you hit the C without hitting the G, right? If that happens for you, it just means to say that you need to calibrate your system. You have an understanding of where C is and how you get from C to C, okay? But your system is not ready, your body system is not ready. So once you have something like this, you can infer from it and then get your C to C octave nice jump. Now, instead of trying it immediately, you should try it on the next day when you are done practicing. Okay, when you're doing the warm-up, right? Now, in my exercise, it continues on to the lip trills. It's part of flexibility, so you have to do it. Now, is basically the tongue going ta ya 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 ya. Now when I'm saying it, my jaw doesn't go ta ya ya ya. Okay, my jaw doesn't move. Okay, now it will sound like this. But at the end, we are still adding the 1.5 octave jump. Okay, next. Okay. And you see how this works out, right? So by this point in time, once you're done with it, you have the high lip trills, you have the big leaps, and that will definitely help you with your lip flexibility. Okay, now when you go back and work on immediately remove all your preconceived notions and habits. So let it go and then just try. Whatever happens, happens. That was pretty good, yeah. So you can do it too. There are many topics that you can use on lip flexibility, like trilling intervals of 4. But if you are the kind that find this tedious and troublesome, then try to make it fun. Do something else and then incorporate it into the stuff that you do and see if it helps you in the long run. Okay, but the most important thing is at least put in a few minutes a day into this category. Thank you.